Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, gonna go over a story titled, Am I the A-hole for blowing up at my pregnant wife and putting my foot down after her blow-up? And a shout out to Walker for sending me this story. And guys, holy crap, this is definitely a story warranted for this channel. This is all about a guy and a gal, a couple, a married couple, and I believe they're married for a few years now, who had a great living situation going on thanks to the kindness and generosity of their landlord. Their landlord, who is a veteran, who is an older man, obviously 60 plus, and really liked them when they came to rent his house or apartment, so he gave them an incredible deal. And they've had a good relationship for all these years. They're expecting a kid on the way, and the wife completely ruined the whole thing, and you're going to see how, just because she decided to lash out at him and blaming it on, the hormones and everything else except the fact that she was being a total a-hole, and completely ruined their living situation. And now the guy's wondering, did I go too far by putting my foot down with her and blowing up at her? Let me go over here to show you how some gals will use the fact that they are pregnant to justify any and all actions that they do. And I'm a guy, I know what it feels like, and I'm sure, yes, it's hell on earth for 9 months carrying a little person in your belly, and everything goes along with it, the gaining a bunch of weight, and feeling sick, and everything I can't possibly think of. I know I got 4% of women are here. It's hell. It does not justify treating people like garbage, and all the many other things, and blaming the hormones and expecting everybody to put up with it and allow. That's a bunch of crap. And this situation here now has gone from good to real bad real quick. And like any situation, this is one of these where a guy has to decide, holy crap, is this who she really is? Is this how the future is going to be? Maybe I don't want to be with this person anymore. That was a long intro, but I had to get that out. So it started, it says here, I created this account because my wife has read it as well, but thinking I don't care, she finds it, but the account is already created. We are renting a 2-bedroom house from an older man. We will call him G. Well, I'm not going to go through the whole story calling him G, so I'm just going to call him, what's a good name for him? Gus. We're going to call him Gus. I don't know how really to describe Gus, but older, retired military is the closest. This man has been nothing but kind to us for more and far more than either one of us, our parents, could be. We live in California, and the average rent in our area is around $2,600 for a 2-bedroom. Well, number one, I want to know where in California is $2,600, because a lot of California, $2,600 is cheap. But also, they got this years ago, so maybe this is 2018 prices. At first, we were a bit skeptical because the house was advertised, but Gus wanted to meet the tenants personally before anything else. The listing stated $2,500, but was also stated negotiable. We met with Gus, and I don't know if he liked us or felt sorry because we told him our story, but he offered us the place for $1,600 a month. Any problems we ever had throughout the 6 years with me and my wife have lived there, and the house were fixed within 48 hours. That guy dropped it by $1,000 because he really liked you. Either he's the worst businessman in the world, or he obviously fully owned and paid for the place, and he just really liked you. And he was a good, kind man who saw a young couple and wanted to help him out. And by the way, he said, okay, 6 years they've been living there. So obviously they moved in there in 2018. Well, guess what? If they've had the same rent for $1,600 in California for 6 years, when that could be way more than that, even in the remote bumblefuck parts of California, and there obviously are some, yeah, they got a hell of a deal thanks to his kindness. Gus is the landlord that everyone wishes they had. He isn't money hungry, and if rent is a bit late, he understands as long as you keep him informed. We haven't had an issue with him in 6 years. Man, this guy is unbelievably kind, and obviously sees these two like family. I've asked him why he's renting the house out to us so cheap, and his story broke my heart. He bought the house for his daughter a couple of years before he moved in, but unfortunately, she and her fiance died in a car crash, and he couldn't find the heart to sell it, but also doesn't just want to have it stay empty. Oh my God. So that explains everything. Obviously, he paid for it outright, owns it free and clear, so what they pay doesn't matter that much. Obviously, probably wants to just cover the property taxes and insurance. And he lost his daughter, probably his only daughter. And now he sees these two like family. And I'm really building up the emotional part of the story so you see what happens here. During COVID, when my wife lost her job and I had to take a pay cut, I called him and told him about our situation. I asked if it was possible for us to perhaps pay a couple $100 less in rent, and then I'll pay everything back once COVID had stopped. He came over and talked to me and my wife. After 2 hours of talking, he said that he would forgive half our rent until the whole COVID thing is done, and then we can just go back to the original contract. Holy crap, now he's dropping it again and saying just don't worry about it. This is an unbelievably kind man. I cannot describe how happy I was. I thanked him with tears in my eyes. With the $700 saved on rent, we were able to keep our head above water during the crisis. Above it, the kind of man that Gus is. My wife is currently 5 months pregnant. Gus has some health scares, so we haven't seen him much in the last 6 months. He came over the day before yesterday to tell us he is healthy again and will again take up the care responsible, so if anything is needed to give him a call. He saw my wife and obviously the belly and asked for how long she was, and we told him that he had just had this smile from ear to ear and said congratulations. Before he walked off, he says kids are expensive, so as a baby gift from me, let's make the rent an even $1,000 until the baby is born. Wow. I mean, $2,600, which seems cheap to me for parts of California, then chopped it in half, and then lowered again and lowering again. He knows that these two are going to have a lot more expenses with a baby around. Very kind. I have an idea why, but for some reason, this set my wife off completely. She started yelling at Gus, calling him an old man that is looking down on us, and that he can take his useless gift and shove it up his ass. What the fuck? What the fuck? This guy has been nothing but kind, and she's misinterpreting his kindness to lower the rent again, give him a little more cash flow in the house, a little more savings with the baby, as him looking down on them because they're poor or something and wants to go off on him. What a fucking psycho. It doesn't stop here. She was yelling for like 3 minutes, and every time I tried to stop her, she would get louder and louder. 3 minutes is a long time with somebody in your face yelling. This poor old guy who's been nothing but kind is probably like heartbroken. I don't know what got into my wife, but at the end of her rant, she said, if you really want to gift us something for our baby, you should not let us pay rent at all, you stupid fucking old man. That is what you call a gift. So in her mind, this entitled little asshole thought he shouldn't charge him rent at all? They've been getting massive discounts all these years and helped out during the COVID thing and all that, and now she's pissed off because he's looking down on her and all that, and he should give it for free? Well, watch this. By the way, this is when this husband, I think this husband obviously is in disbelief when this whole thing was going on. If there's ever a time when it's warranted to, well, I can't say it on YouTube, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about, to correct her, it's warranted. At least drag her to the back of the room and close the door with her screaming ass. Gus took everything she said and didn't say a word back, and his face just went from happy to complete emotionless. After my wife was done, he just left. I blew up at my wife and asked her what the fuck was she thinking, as G has never done anything wrong to us. You're darn right, and you have every right to blow it at her. She just started to cry and refused to talk to me for the rest of the night. Fuck her. Always the crying. Hobag Handbook Chapter 2. Every time I brought it up, she would just start crying, but I caught onto the crocodile tears and just told her to stop because I want an explanation. Yesterday morning before I left for work, I told her she better be ready because ready or not, when I got home, we will talk about what happened, and I will not accept her fake tears. This guy's probably like, who the fuck is this? I don't hear anything in his story here that she's behaved in a manner like this before. But I've done stories, guys, and maybe you've heard them, maybe you've seen this in real life, where you can have a girl act seemingly sane, normal, and then she has a child, and not only during the pregnancy, but afterwards, like the crazy comes out and never goes back. Well, we're not done yet. I don't want to ruin anything. I got a text from Gus telling me we have to talk. I can imagine. He asked to meet at the house at 5 p.m. and I agreed. We met at the house and he asked me to come in. We sat in the living room and he asked if my wife would come join us. And she did. He didn't ask why. What happened? Nothing. What happened? Nothing at all. He did was lay out what will be happening going forward. You know, this might be a good time that this guy's wife said, "Hey Gus, I'm sorry. Thank you for all the kindness you've shown to me. I don't know what came over me. There's no excuse. I'm so sorry." I'm not hearing that. What a fucking asshole. Gus said the gift will no longer be happening and he will expect a full rent at the end of the month. No excuses. I don't blame Gus. He said the rent will stay at $1,600 until our lease is up for renewal, which is ending at the end of this year. And when the lease is over, we are more than welcome to renew. Then he will be charging us the market rate for the house. That is more than a $1,000 increase. I tried to talk to him, but he refused to listen and then just walked out of the house. I want to point out that the $2,600 initial listing of the house in 2018, given inflation, particularly housing inflation in California, that could be $4,000 by now, at least $3,500. So even $2,600 is a bargain. But the point is, you're going to treat me like this, you're paying up. And this husband here didn't do anything. She ruined this whole thing for him. My wife was white as a ghost on the couch and stammered, "What are we going to do?" What are we going to do? You're going to get off your ass and you're going to do whatever you got to do to change his mind, honey. Because she knows a $1,000 increase in the rent will lead us back to living on paycheck to paycheck. My paycheck is enough to cover literally every single bill until my promotion in 14 months. Yeah, they go back to paycheck, and they have a child on the way, and newsflash, children are expensive. I blew up and told her this shit is her doing, and she asked me to run after Gus and talk or call him and try to talk to him, but Gus is refusing. The only message I got back was, "Please contact me if it has something to do with the house, not for any personal matters, as our relationship will only be strictly landlord and tenant. That is it." No, he doesn't have to do it. She needs to do it. I don't blame Gus. She broke his heart. And sadly, she represented the husband here. All he's done for them, that's the thanks he gets. I don't blame him. My wife is frantically trying to call Gus and apologize, but he isn't answering her calls. Well, if I was Gus, I wouldn't either. Because he now in his mind, she's not doing it because she feels bad. She's doing it because she has to pay more. Maybe if she went after him before he told him the new terms, maybe he'd change his mind. She knows her part-time job paycheck might not be enough, and I told her we need to downsize, and she's not happy. Tough shit, she's not happy. And why is she? Okay, she's 6 months pregnant. I think he says 6 months pregnant. But I'm assuming she worked full-time before. Time this guy gets a new job that pays more money. I'm not happy with my wife at all, and she is calling me an a-hole because I'm mad at her. You're the bad guy here? Talk about no accountability. $1,000 doesn't sound like a lot for some, but for me, it is a lot of money. $1,000 is a lot of money. I don't care what he fucking says. My wife's paycheck would not have been touched for rent or anything, but now it has, as I told her, she will have to cover the $1,000 if she wants to stay in this house, as I refuse to take up longer hours or more shifts. That's right, honey, pay up. She is devastated because her part-time job salary might not be enough, and she'll have to go back to work full-time. Oh, poor her. Sorry if my post is all over the place. I'm tired and my emotions aren't at the right place currently, as I'm stressing about this thing that hasn't even crossed my mind before and things I haven't had to stress over. The situation sounds rough. I know, but like I said above, I'm up for a promotion at work as a manager's job when he retires in 14 months. I'm assured the job and have it in writing. The increase is enough for my wife to only work part-time, but that will only be 14 months, and she has to cover the missing $1,000 for rent that I'm refusing. I don't want to move, but if she doesn't cover the missing $1,000 or can't, we will have to. You all know what I'm thinking here, but I'm not going to say it to the end. He says, also, I have asked my wife if Gus has done something or said anything to her that caused a reaction to him, wanting to give it as a gift, and she in tears told me no, but can't or won't give me a reason. To me, in my mind, it took what she said at face value, and I believe that she thinks Gus was looking down on us, as she said when he made the offer. Okay, psycho. Looking down on them? Like in her mind, probably in her mind, that him being as generous as possible is looking down on them. He's giving me all these deals because we're such poor trash. Bullshit, he's doing this out of the kindness of his heart. That $500 would have helped monumentally, and my wife knows that. She also knows getting a house like we currently have, and as good as we have it in the house, is not a guarantee, because we have read numerous stories on Reddit about other landlords, and she herself has always expected how lucky we've been. There are good landlords out there, and there are bad landlords out there, and there are awful landlords out there. And they got themselves like, this guy's like a fucking angel. Like, it's like Highway to Heaven. Remember that show from the 80s? My grandpa watched this show all the time, so therefore I watched that show all the time when I was with her. Fucking Michael Landon's come down. He's the freaking, you know I'm old here, 46 years old, talking about Highway to Heaven. Highway to Heaven, Michael Landon is their landlord here, and he's been helping them, but now, well, the devil is an angel, so now they're getting the devil. You pissed off Gus. Gus is done with you. Also, he says, I worded this like shit in my post. Sorry. Our lease is up for renewal, but our lease will be canceled and not renewed. We'll basically have to reapply for the lease, and the new amount will be at market rate. He said, for the fact that we've been good tenants so far, he will give us the first option in the house. And he says, edit 3 because it keeps coming up. I actually forgot how far Reddit can go on things. I know this sounds shitty of me, but I am more sure that Gus hasn't slept with my wife than I am with my wife has never cheated on me. You never know in this world, but I think Gus has not slept with his wife. I'm going to say it right now. No. Has she cheated on him? Given how much of an asshole she's being, I'm saying certainly possible. Myself including, I never met a man more set on morals and principles. Gus still wears his wedding ring even though his wife has been dead for more than 10 years. When I asked him about a woman or girlfriend in life, he said no. His wife is waiting for him and he will not disappoint her. Oh my God. This poor guy. She broke his freaking heart. So is this guy the a-hole for blowing up at her and all that? No. I still think that when she was sounding off on poor Gus, he should have grabbed her by the hand, took her to the back room and gave her a talking to, gave her something else. I don't blame Gus for doing what he did, but look how his kindness is repaid by her doing that. Now, this is an ongoing story. This is just part one. There's going to be updates here, and I'm going to be continuing this story here. Now, you all have probably been thinking what I've been thinking and haven't said yet, but this guy needs to really think, do I want to be with this woman? Look how she completely torpedoed their situation. With the discounts that Gus was giving them, has been able to, get on by. They're a young couple. And when that baby is born, there's going to be more expenses. This guy has a new job coming. He'll make more money. They would have been okay. They would have made it. But now, if they have to leave, or pay market rate, things are tight. And there's going to be a problem. Nothing can cause more problems than money problems with a couple, particularly throwing a baby in the mix. I covered a story yesterday about the situation with a tight budget and a baby and a wife and all that type of. Many of you saw that. So if I'm this guy, I'm thinking, do I want a future with her? I sure as hell wouldn't. And I have a hard time believing she hasn't behaved in this manner before. He just didn't mention that, Yes, again, okay, she's pregnant. And I don't know what that's like. And I'm sure it's pure hell. Degrees of hell. Not to mention she has to go through the childbirth and the stress and all that and carrying a little human being. But that doesn't give an excuse to do this. And I've seen stories where a seemingly sane young lady has been great and then she gets pregnant and the crazy comes out and it never stops. Well after the child's born and going on. And look what she's done to their marriage and their situation. So this guy would be really thinking about what he wants to do going forward. I certainly would. So I'm going to review comments here and wrap this up. But I'll be looking for more updates here. There's got to be more going on here. This guy says here, your wife broke the man's heart. He saw you as children he lost and was likely excited to have an opportunity to be a pseudo-grandfather. I bet you that was it. You are not the... hear the thunder, guys. I better finish this up before the 19th storm of the day comes here in South Florida. You are not the a-hole, but your wife has devastated a good man trying to do something good for her. She at least owes him a genuine apology, regardless of whether or not he changes his terms. I can't believe she hasn't fucking apologized yet. This breaks my heart for Gus. Your wife got what she deserves, and you're stuck along for the ride. I wouldn't be surprised if she starts lashing out at you for not doing enough in the future. She will, guaranteed. I find it ironic that she thought a discount on rent was a sign of pity, but offering free rent would have been a real gift. That's not even rational. No, she's not rational. Yeah, and again, she's got a little human in there, and the hormones and all that, but that's no fucking excuse. Another one, not the a-hole, but your wife definitely is. Gus sounds like a sweet, lonely old man who's been nothing but kind to your family. Yeah, well, don't mistake kindness for weakness in good old Gus. Without providing a valid reason, your wife's outburst is completely unjustified, and I can understand why Gus is no longer interested in a personal relationship and helping you out. After that, he is right to be strictly your landlord and nothing more. I bet after this, Gus, who's such a nice guy and good guy, will never do something like this again. I think you're being fair in what you are saying to your wife. If she wants to stay, she needs to find a way to cover your $1,000 difference before you get that promotion. Otherwise, you will need to move and downsize. Yeah, and she's going to make this dude about to be the biggest bad guy in the world. Watch. But with a baby on the way, maybe the best choice is to downsize so you're not living paycheck to paycheck. Raising a kid is not cheap, and you need to put that into the equation. And one more. This guy says, not the a-hole, and what the fuck? Your wife has some issues you don't know of. You got that right. You got to get to the bottom line of this. She single-handedly put you in a bad place apart from treating a person who is more than nice and understanding to you all like crap. Your wife might have to go to therapy for that. This is not normal. For goodness sake, what the fuck is wrong with her? For how deep she put you into the shit, she hasn't given you an explanation. She owes you that. If she still refuses, I see some more trouble ahead in your marriage. No person in their right mind goes off like that for no reason. Even if she felt disrespected by Gus, for whatever insane reason she had, considering the financial situation you guys are in, should have kept her quiet. Have talked to you and maybe turned down Gus's offer, but this absolutely insanity. And that's it. There was more comments, but I think you all get the point. So guys, if you happen to see an update for this before I do, let me know. I definitely want to cover this. That poor old guy. Lost his daughter, saw these two as kind of like another pseudo grandkid on the way, doing all this. I mean, my God, you're not going to find people like this much in this world, let alone landlords. Come on here. So I really hope this guy does some serious thinking. This may be his last post. He may take this down at this point. I have no idea because this was sent to me last night. But this guy needs to do some serious thinking whether he wants to be with her in the future. And yes, he's been married to her obviously a number of years. Kid in the way, it ain't gonna be pretty, but imagine a lifetime with that. Imagine other things she could screw up. Because someone that went that nuts on this guy, what's she gonna do if she goes crazy and the baby's there? Think about it. Alright guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Definitely comment on this story here, guys. And if you like the video, share it with your friends and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.